Alright, ladies and gents, you're gonna have to excuse the noise, but look at the pretties. So we just got our subframe back from Exotic Custom Coatings. They're a local powder coater, and I have to say they did a fantastic job and have excellent prices. I mean, they have no association to me and my business. They just have some really fair pricing, and given what I've done with hydrographics, I guessed, you know, somewhere around $700 to have, you know, the subframe, the control arms, the bushings and spacers and all the other stuff that I sent them done, and that's right around where I ended up. That's pretty fair, given that this is a much more durable coating than the hang on one second, guys. Much more durable coating than the paint that I would have put on myself. So I've already bashed it with a few things, and although you might get a smudge or a smear, maybe a little scratch, it's not chipping and flaking and cracking the way that paint would. So I'm very satisfied. It's beautiful. I'm not sure how it looks to you guys on camera. It's kind of a really interesting color. It's a greenish blue teal, right? When I take photos of it with one phone, it's blue. I mean, like a bright popping blue. I take photos with another phone, it's a deep green. I don't know why these phones are picking up different colors. My Google Pixel is supposed to have a fantastic camera on it, and it's coming through bright blue. You know, it's not blue, it's a greenish teal. Anyway, they did a fantastic job, so we went ahead and we got everything mounted in here. All control arms in. I had to kind of like re-drill out the holes for the bolts here, because the powder coat actually adds quite a few millimeters. I don't mind that. It only took me a few minutes, but it's all in place, and we are now going to go ahead and get started on our big brake swap. So we went ahead and ordered from CTSVswap.com, and we got their brake swap kit, CTSVbrakeswap.com. These used to be like a bare aluminum or whatever. At least like they stepped up their game a bit, and they're powder coated black, got their label on it. It's cool. So we're gonna go ahead and run through that. So the first thing we got to do is come on over here, and we gotta get this bracket goes like this here. So I believe these holes need to be tapped, drilled and tapped. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on that. And once I find the appropriate drill bit, which I believe is a 9/16, something like that, we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll be right back. Okay, so it turns out that the drill bit you need is a 9/16 drill bit. The 9/16 is larger than a 1/2 inch. The 1/2 inch is the largest I had. But I found that if you drill your pilot hole with the 1/2 inch, and then slowly back and forth on low power settings with the tap, you can get it through. This took me about 5 minutes. Not a whole huge waste of time, but there we go. Our hole is tapped, and we should be good to go. There we go. So that's hole number 1, and looks pretty stout. Alright, on to the next hole, and we'll be back. Okay guys, so we got both our holes drilled and tapped. Now, in order to get this bracket on, and I do believe it goes this way, we need to be able to get the bolt in back here. So this bolt right here is in the way. There's no way to tighten this down with this in place, so you're gonna have to remove this bolt first. So I already broke it loose. I highly doubt these bolts have been touched or removed in some time, and I don't believe this is the concentric bolt. I think that's this one right here. So this shouldn't mess with any of my settings, camber wise. So I believe this top bolt is the short one. So let's see. Excuse me for all the jumping around and whatnot. That's not how that goes. Where's the one I just had in my hand? Oh, put it on the floor. Way to be a goober. Alright. Excuse me. One man show here. Not prepared for this kind of junk. Alright, come on. Get on in there. Alright. Okay. Now you don't have to drill and tap it. From what I understand, you can drill this out and use a nut here, but I'd rather tap it. Just keep it simple for myself. But I believe that's how it goes. So now we got to get we got this little spacer here that they give us, and the spacer basically aligns the center of the caliper. So if you want to get your pads on there and wear evenly, you need the spacer. And it goes down. You see there's a chamfer here. This chamfer goes towards the face. So they got 2 different bolt patterns here. So it's somewhat universal. But ta-da, there's that one. And I'm going to go grab our rotor and get that on there, and then we'll see where this gigantic caliper lines up. Be right back. Alright, we're back. And this, my friends, is our gigantic new rotor. That's the number right there. I hope it's all in focus. And by some miracle, I wasn't paying attention, I actually grabbed the correct rotor. Ta-da! It's a L for left and then R for right. That is our caliper. It's gigantic. So, these things are heavy. So I'm going to set this over here. Hopefully everything's still in focus. Make some adjustments. Negative. I don't think that's doing it. See, how about that? Bam. That should work, yeah? Let's see. Boom. Alright. So, get this giant heavy bastard. These things are incredibly heavy. Holy shit. That goes on there like so. Where are my lug nuts? One moment, guys, while I find some old piece of junk lug nuts to put on there and hold that thing in place. I keep everything, just a matter of where. One of these days I'll get organized and stop making everything so painful for myself. One day. Maybe. Never. Alright, here we go. These ought to work for a little bit. They're not open-ended, so they're not going to go all the way down, but they'll help. I have to go grab some open-ended lug nuts. Didn't think about it earlier. In my mind, those lug nuts are like end of build, you know, splurgy thing that you snag because you want the pretties. Not necessarily something that you need for your build, like on the immediate. Alright, well, that's as good as it's going to get. So, these rotors actually weigh less. I mean, calipers weigh less than the rotors. So, let's get this in here. Alright, so the 2 short bolts are on the top, and then the actual caliper mounting bolts are the longer ones. Which should be obvious in the kit because you get 4 of one bolt and 2 of the other. But, yeah. You say that, and then, you know, people like myself go and do it all backwards and dumb. That is I believe that's a 19. Go and grab my wrench. Just like that, I misplaced my ratchet. All is well. All is well. Yay. Waiting on new parts. There we go. It seems it's easier to thread the top one in first. Snug that down yet. Good and tight. Yeah. Good and tight. Bam! How about them apples, guys? That's pretty slick. Also, when you install these, just again make sure that you have these facing up. When you bleed the system, there's going to come down through the lines and up and out the caliper. So any remaining bubbles are in here. As you bleed the system, at the end of it, you can get to the point where you're kind of like tapping the caliper itself with like a rubber mallet or something to break loose any remaining bubbles that find their way, you know, behind bushings or you know, like rough edges, you know, like the pistons and or any kind of blockage or sharp angle. You just keep tapping them, try and get them to move up, and they'll get stuck right back here. And you want to be able to have that pointing straight up, because if you have it the other way around, you'll never get them out. They'll never come out, period. They'll get hung up in certain spaces and stay. So that's there. Let me grab my brake cleaner. You're going to want to give all of this a good spray with a brake cleaner before you put your pads in there. You know, get your greasy fingerprints off. See all the film, the stuff coming off of there? That's what we want off. Cool. Alright. Now I went with these Power Stop Extreme. They're carbon fiber and ceramic. I don't really know what all that means, to be honest. You know, I didn't want anything that was like going to be too loud and screechy, so we went with this. It was somewhat mid-range, not the most expensive thing they had, but also not the cheapest. Okay. Not set these pads on the ground where they can be exposed to contaminants, like I was just about to do, because I'm retarded. Alright, so these are your pins and springs. This is how you lock in your pads. Okay, so that's fine. Put that there. Each spring gets 2 pins. So they go right here in the top. So they're going to come in this way and slide into the top, and then there's a little relief right here where the end of the pin slides in and locks. Just give a little hammer tap in and they lock into place. It's fairly simple. And let's get this pad in here. Let's see, got some instructions here. Apply lubricant. Back sides of both pads, the pins, and their retaining spaces. Okay. Did that open? Yay, did not open. There we go. So here. This portion, so probably a bit much. There we go. Okay. Now let's get some on the back of the pad. Not a whole lot in here, so I'd be sparing with the anti-squeak stuff. Wipe off my hands so I don't get on the face of the pad, because that would be no bueno. Alright guys, we're back. Apologies for that. We had a contractor stop by for our repairs for the house, but here's where we are. So got everything in its appropriate place. It's all on there. Spins freely. As you can see, everything is in here. These pins you just slide in from the back, and they've got like a angled bushing that compresses as you push it through and locks it into place. To get this out, you just use like a thin screwdriver and push in here. Like I just took some old Phillips that I really haven't been using for much of anything, ground it flush, and that goes right in there perfectly. A couple taps of the hammer, pins come out. I had to pull them out because I put the wrong brake pads in here. There was a little tab hanging out here on the front. I don't think it would have hurt anything, but I'm pretty sure that was meant it was one for the rear. So here we are. So now we're just waiting on the rest of our components, but this side is done. So we're going to go ahead and knock out the other one. But again, 1/2 inch or a 9/16 drill bit. In my opinion, really the only hole you need to tap is this top one, because the other one's a through bolt, and then it threads right into the lower section. But I just followed directions and tapped both holes because it didn't really hurt anything. So it's on there, good and tight and secure. That's done. Ta-da! So alright, we'll check back in with you guys with the rest of our shenanigans later in the week. I mean, there's some really cool stuff that we're waiting for, and hopefully it arrives soon. But man, I'm just tickled with that subframe. It's beautiful. Beautiful color. It's sealed in. Won't be rusting anymore now. And we're going to finish putting that engine over there back together. I know that's not appropriate. We got the heads on there. It's just the bottom that's open. But I figure a few layers of that cloth is better than no protection at all. Because we're running short of trash bags around here. They just disappear. It's magical. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started on the other side over there, which is kind of a tighter space. Might be a little bit of a dick, but we're going to get it done. Bye-bye! Alright guys, so I did it dumb. But fortunately for me, I caught it well before I got any deeper into other stuff, forgot about it, and had a catastrophe. Because that's my normal. So, again, bleeders on the top. But what I forgot to do on the other side was put in this spring here. It's not hard to do. You just tie it underneath the bottom pin here, bend it back, put the other pin through, beat it in, you're good to go. But it helps keep everything in there like tight and sprung, and assists in I'm guessing from this angle here in putting outward pressure on the pads. But because they were real rickety in there without this, they're just kind of all over. Anyway, they're done now. So about an hour and a half worth of work. Not too bad. I'm a little slow at doing things because my stuff's everywhere, and then you know, I was struggling with other stuff like getting the subframe back in place. I'll get the rack back in there pretty soon, but for now, I think that's going to be all in a day's work. I'm pretty stoked about it. It looks great, and I'm sure down the line it's going to serve us well. So we'll check back in with you guys later. And look at that. There's little things you got to pay attention to. Let's go ahead and just lay the lubricant down on the pad, right? Done. All right. Towel. Work for our
Hey,
Oh,
surprise
surprise me.
me.
What's up, man?
How much? I have an invoice for you.
Cool.